Good morning, friends. How are you, gang? Good morning, good morning. How is everyone this morning? Hope you're doing well. Everyone is doing good. I might try to find a little shade here as we move around. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Kristen. How are you? Bonnie, good morning to you. Hope things are well. All kinds of craziness going on here. Camera. Good morning, Karen. Hope things are great. Good morning, everybody. It was a nice quiet spot right until I turn the camera on and wind starts blowing and get all kinds of goodness here. So always the way. Good morning. Good morning, John. How are you, everybody? Good morning. Yeah, breezy here. Good morning. Hey, Cecile. Everybody. So glad you're here. So I'm a little under the weather this morning, so today might be a little brief or a little nasally or a little off-cantered, but it'll be what it is because that's the joy of this journey is that you never quite know how it's all going to come together on any given day. So welcome everybody. It is the 21st day. It is the first full day of summer here, Tuesday at 11:11, and I'm glad to open up another season with all of you. That this is truly starting another season of life together as we the first full day of summer comes to open up, and all the in summer I think is probably one of the more special seasons that way of a little more hope, a little more promise of what might be, about what might come, maybe some relaxation, maybe some time together, all of those hopes that we have for a new season, and we stand with them together, you and I, and our little group here that gathers, and so we're to journey and with life together. One of my very favorite, um, I suppose you could call her an evangelist, but is a woman by the name of Corrie ten Boom. And Corrie ten Boom was a prisoner in the concentration camps in Nazi Germany. She was a Dutch resistance fighter, a devout Christian, and came to tell her story many times after the war. But she tells this story uh, about her early life and about her dad. And so and Father's Day just being passed, I figured we might tell us one of those her story of that is she was going to church as a devout, as a child will do, kind of dragged by her parents, and was and she knew the word sex because the word sex had to do with whether you were a boy or a girl. So she got that. And then she knew the word sin because sin was like something that you weren't supposed to do or something that, but when you put sex and sin together, as the pastor just had in the sermon that she had just heard with her parents, she didn't understand. She didn't get it. She couldn't grasp. She didn't know what one had to do with the other. And so as they were on the train headed home, she turned to her father and she said, "Father, what is sexin?" And he looked at her, and she said he always had this way of looking at her a particular way when he was about to explain something to her. But he didn't say anything that day. That day he just waited until the train ride was over, and he took down his suitcase and he set it down on the floor and he said, "Corey, could you carry that for me off the train?" And now her father was a watchmaker and watch repairman, and his briefcase was always full of watch parts. And so she grabbed the uh, suitcase, and it was too heavy. There was no way in which she could lift it, and it was too much for her to carry. And so she struggled, and she says, I can't lift it, Papa." And so he said, and so he picked it up and carried it off the train. And as they were heading off the train, he explained to her. He said, "Some things in this life, for you as a child, are just too heavy for you to carry. And that if were I to explain them to you, and were I to answer your question, that I would put things on you that you'd have to carry, for that you're just not ready to carry yet. And I want to carry those for you for a little while longer. So you need to trust me. You just need to trust me for now. That I'll carry these things, and that when the time is right and when you're strong enough, I'll hand them to you, and that you'll be able to know the answers to all your questions about these things." It made an incredible impact on Corey ten Boom. Not just about how we treat children and about when and how we should talk to children about sex, and we could go on a rant about the sexualization of children in our culture. I got some good ones on that. There's no problem. There's certainly no problem finding examples of that in the days that we're living right now. But this story is at the heart of the human problem. It's actually at the heart of what it is, because if we look at if you ask, like, well, what is the human problem? The human problem maybe being that original sin thing, and there's numerous ways to understand that, but it kind of comes down to this kind of, things kind of get kicked off in a new direction when Adam and Eve eat of the fruit of the garden and eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, right? Like, that seems to be the beginning of part B of the whole story, seems to flow from that. Other than that, God and humanity are going for walks in the garden. It's that kind of hungering for more knowledge that seems to get them in trouble. And it's not even just the hungering for more knowledge, because here's the thing I think we always miss about this story, is that humanity was always meant to eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. We know this because when you look at the end of the story and you look at where the tree of the knowledge of good and evil is, it's at the center of the holy city, and that people can eat from it freely at any time that they choose. Once humanity has gone through the whole story of the process of strengthening and redemption and beauty and grace and defeat and heartbreak and all the things that will and an encounter with real evil and the character that is built from that, all of the things that will happen in the course of the journey of the Israelite people. But it's too early for Adam and Eve to have that knowledge, and so they're cast out of paradise, not because they've been disobedient, but so that they might be protected, so that they might not have a knowledge that would just destroy them, so that God might carry for them that which was too heavy for them to carry. I have a friend of mine right now that's in a fight with a bunch of parents that he's not local, but he's fighting with a bunch of parents about whether his fifth grader should have Snapchat or not. And I don't know, whatever you know about Snapchat, it's generally not used for the best of things in terms of communication, and he's really holding the line that he does not want his daughter in fifth grade to have Snapchat, and is that he's bearing the brunt of that. It's really whether you think he's right or wrong, whether you think he's an uptight curmudgeon or whether you think he's just being a good parent, however you understand that doesn't matter. That he really is almost stepping into the role that the Lord stepped into for all of humanity, for us, and just saying, you know what, You're not ready for it. So you're gonna have to you're gonna have to go analog for a while longer. You're gonna have to go into the wilderness for a while longer. You're gonna have to go. You're not ready for that level of connection, that level of information, because you're just not strong enough to carry it yet. Friends, what I want to remind you today is not just this, about how we treat our kids. I want to remind us about how we treat us as we go into this new season, how we treat ourselves and how we treat each other in terms of what we think we're right for. I know all of us, maybe we're trying to get into swimsuit season and you're trying to suck some weight so that you can look decent in a swimsuit, or you're trying to make something better, or you're trying to negotiate a great grief in life, or you're trying to deal with the things in which life has handed you. And this notion that we think that now that we're in kind of grown bodies or big bodies or maybe even some of us decrepit bodies, that we think we should be able to handle this, right? We should be able to do this. Like I should be able to just do the things I need to do. I should be able to just take care of it. And yet the journey that we start about what we are ready for, about what it takes to to get up to speed, about what we learn, about the way we grow, about the character in which we build, about the way in which we become bigger and stronger in heart and soul and mind, the way we become a better dwelling place for the Spirit of God. All of that is an unfolding process that's going to take us a lifetime. And that my invitation for you today is to have that same compassion that God had for Adam and Eve. Have the same compassion that Corey Ten Boom's dad had for her, the same compassion that my friend has for his young daughter. That trust. Let God carry the things that you can't carry right now. And if you can't handle it, if it's too much, if it's more than you bargained for, if you're doing it imperfectly, good. Good. Because there is a journey in the imperfection. There's a joy and a goodness in the imperfection. There's a wonder in the analog of life, in which that we're going to get all the pops and scratches of the record versus the clean digital idea of what we have all together. There is a need and a reality in our lives and in our being that must be about the part. A reality, living a joy, living a life that is filled, with Spirit, and that will come not through this moment we get saved, but that will come through the long arc of life, through the long arc of love, through the long arc of having our hearts broken, rebroken sometimes, and the long arc of us journeying our pilgrimage towards God. Friends, be gentle with yourself as we go into this new season, and know that you, no matter how old or how capable you might be, still have places within you that are in need of a God that will carry them for you, or in need of another person that will carry them for you, or in need of just your ability to recognize that you might not need to carry them quite yet anyway. All right, folks, that's my hope for you today. Peace and grace to you all. Just want to see who popped in. Nancy, hey, good, I'm glad you're here. Donna, good morning to you. Irene, hello, 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 good morning. Vicky, I hope things are well with you. Praying for you. Hey, Jamie, glad you made it in. Priscilla is here, everybody. Hey, and as we continue on with our week, I hope you will pray for Brett and Ginny. It is a time for them, and so please hold them dear, as they are in need of prayers these days. as you all of you, and pray for our little community here and at First Congregational Church, that in it we might help carry the weights that seem a little too heavy for us through the days. All right, peace and grace, my friends, and we'll pick it up tomorrow with another 11:11.